Om Sri Sai Ram. I offer my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our Divine Mother, our beloved Swami. Esteemed speaker, revered elders, sisters and brothers, very loving Sai Ram and good evening to one and all. Welcome to day 6 of Navaratri celebrations in Brindavan. After having experienced a very blissful chanting of Sri Lalita Sahasranama Parayanam, I'm sure we are all geared up to enter into episode 6 of Upanishad Pravahini. In this episode, we shall be all learning about the very renowned Kathopanishad, the famous dialogue between the little Nachiketa and the Lord of Death himself. To share with us learnings from this Upanishad, we have a very distinguished speaker this evening, Sri Manoj Gadi Prakash. Brother Manoj has been blessed to be born into a family that have been Swami's devotees for more than 3 generations now. He's completed his entire schooling from primary schooling all the way up to MBA from Swami's educational institutions, both in Puttaparthi and here in Brindavan. He's worked in multiple MNCs such as HDFC Bank, Tata Trusts, Azim Premji Foundation, etc. Brother Manoj has been a very active volunteer in the various initiatives like Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vahini for more than 7 years, alumni driven seva activities such as the Patient Help Desk Seva for Swami's Hospital in Whitefield, Sri Sathya Sai Palliative Care Center in Puttaparthi, to name a few. Currently, Brother Manoj is pursuing his Master of Arts in Sanskrit. He likes to spend most of his time devoted to service activities and for the cause of Sanskritam. Manoj, brother, has also had a very rare privilege of being personally chosen by Swami to accompany Swami in his travels to Shimla and Delhi in the year 2010. I'm sure you're all eager to learn about the spiritual truths behind the concept of death. So, sisters and brothers, without any further ado, put your hands together for Sri Manoj Gadi Prakash.
ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च या देवी सर्वभूतेषु विद्यारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः. Om Shri Sai Ram. At the outset, I would like to place my reverential salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Mother Sai. Dearest Swami, respected Bhutia Sir, elders of the Ashram, resident members of the Brindavan Ashram, Sevadal members, brothers, sisters, and all those who have assembled here. A loving Sairam and happy greetings as part of Devi Navaratri celebrations happening right in the proximity of the Divine Mother. The Upanishad for today is Kathopanishad. As harsh or hard the sound may appear, so also is the topic. How does this name Katha arise? Swami gives us various answers. It is part of the Krishna Yajurveda, Charaka Shakha, and a sub Shakha called Katha Shakha. And therefore, this Upanishad gets the name Katha. There's another reason. The Rishi to whom it is credited to have perceived these mantras, his name too seems to be Katha, Katha Maharshi, and therefore this Upanishad is called Kathopanishad. But Swami adds a third dimension and says, Kathina Vishayamu. A very difficult topic is being discussed here. And therefore, aptly, it is called Kathopanishad. Death as a word seems to create some sense of unrest in all of us. Most often, it is a dreaded word. Nobody wants to face it. It is viewed as something deterministic, like a point of no return. But in Sanatana Dharma, the so called dreadful death has been distilled into a mere dress change. And this beautiful Upanishad will therefore help us discuss death delightfully and, and unravel the secrets hidden within it. Swami would say three things: do not trust the world, do not forget God. Anybody knows the third in this series? Do not trust the world, do not forget God, and do not be afraid of death. Because as we go through this Upanishad, we will realize that death is the only certainty which will lead us on to progress towards our true self. So, this Kathopanishad is divided into two adhyayas, Prathamadhyaya and Dvitiyadhyaya. And within each adhyaya, there are three vallis each. Altogether, there are about 140, 120 mantras in this particular Upanishad. Like the speaker before me mentioned, the heart of this Upanishad is this wonderful conversation that happens between small boy Nachiketa, dreadful looking Yamaraja. Upanishad is also very creative in choosing its characters. Who would be ready to face death boldly or come face to face with Yamaraja? For he holds a complete account of all our deeds, not just our deeds, words, not just our words, thoughts, even our dreams. He has a complete account of our existence on earth. All of us will have that little fear to stand opposite to Yamaraja, to be judged and directed as to what lies ahead of all of us. But fearlessly, Nachiketa could face Yamaraja himself. And that is something that is beauty in our Sanatana Dharma Samskriti. Be it Prahlada, who was able to face Hiranyakashipu, or be it Nachiketa, who was able to face Yamaraja. What is the hidden teaching to all of us in this? Children are those who speak their mind and do what they say. There is an underlying simple unity in their thought, word, and deed. What comes to their mind, they say. What they say, they go around doing it. And it is this unity of thought, word, and deed. It is this childlike innocence that ensures that they can be fearless. As we become adults, there is more and more of insecurity that sets in us. I remember one discourse Swami would say, if you can spare a few seconds every day and imagine yourself to be that newborn baby when you had just arrived into this world and smile without any reason, laugh without any reason, delight others without any reason. That is the essence of life. Let's go to the story. So, coming to the story, the Kathopanishad also unfolds with the story. Nachiketa's father, his name is Vajashravas, he is seen to be performing a great sacrifice, a great yajna, whose name is Vishwajit Yajna, in which one has to give up all that belongs to him. You literally have to give every single belonging of yours as dhanam, as part of this yajna. He is, of course, doing this with right intent. That is the father of this boy, Nachiketa. But Nachiketa, standing afar, observes, as all of you can also possibly see in the slide displayed, that the numerous cows that his father is giving away as charity to the various recipients, worthy recipients, These cows have become weak, bony. They don't have any strength in them to even drink water. Forget about giving milk or even being able to graze. Nachiketa is perturbed at this particular instant. What comes first to his mind is, my father does have the right intent, but I'm afraid of the consequences of doing dhanam of such cows. Of what benefit will it be to those who receive, and what could be the consequence that my father has to in turn bear? Nachiketa is pained at this. He approaches his father and he has a loving conversation. And he asks his father, am I dear to you? And father says, yes, of course. And then Nachiketa says, isn't it not that we should always give what is dear to us, what is valuable to us in charity to others? What is the use of giving in charity what is of not use to us? Well, of course, in the world today, there is this talk of recycling. That responsibility too is there. But at the same time, if we are to help others, we have to give that which we value most. Swami would often check in the Narayan Seva activities, which devotees would perform in their houses. Are you giving the same quality of rice that you eat in your home, that you use to cook for your family? So we should always give in charity that which is valuable to us. So, pained at this instance of what could be the negative consequences that his father might have to face, Nachiketa thinks deeply and he tries to come up with a solution. After all, Swami says that headdu, bleddu, duddu, everything has come from our parents. We get our intelligence, our body, our health, our blood, our money, everything from parents. So, the most important duty of any child is to serve and to ensure the welfare of his or her parents. Here is the story of Pundalika. Most of you would be familiar. The picture shows an instance where Pundalika is involved in serving his father while his father is resting. Pundalika is massaging his father's feet, probably after a long day. And moved by the sincerity of Pundalika, Lord Vithala himself appears and decides to bless him with his darshan. But Pundalika says, wait, let me finish my duty to my parents and then I will come to you. At that, this is and Lord Vithala waits for Pundalika to finish serving his parents. That is the importance. Swami would tell us this story to drive home the point that our first God is our own parents. So too Nachiketa ponders, what am I to do at this instance? I am hale and hearty, unlike the cows. I am very dear to my father. So then, the solution to this predicament is that my father can give me in charity to somebody. And so he begins to prod his father. Father, give me in charity to someone. Whom will you give me? Kasmai, Kasmai Mam Dadati. He repeatedly prods his father. At first, father feels happy that my son is ready to offer himself. But then Nachiketa pesters his father. And for a moment, father loses his patience, gets a little irritated. Which mother would not get irritated at a nagging child? It's human, of course. And so, also, out of that moment of irritation and anger, father angrily says, I will give you to Yamaraja. Nachiketa were probably, if I would have been in Nachiketa's position, I would have thought he would have given me to some Brahmin or given me to some Veda Patshala or given me to some Goshala. But here his father has uttered, I will give you unto death. I will give you as Dhanam to Yamaraja himself. But of course, Nachiketa being Nachiketa was least of all perplexed. He was willing because after that, he was pestering his father, allow me to go. Now, here is a situation. Could Nachiketa have told, I didn't expect you to give me to death, I was ready for any other situation. But since you have told that you are giving me to death, I am backing out now. No. Nachiketa does not escape from that situation. Now he has another concern. My father having clearly said and uttered that I am giving you in charity to death. And if I don't offer myself unto Yamaraja, then it would be as if my father is speaking a lie. Because of me, because of my fear, it should not happen that my father has to bear the consequences, the sin of having spoken untruth. I should ensure that my father's word is kept up. Quite reminds us of the same episode, right? In Ramayana. Difficult circumstances. Dasharatha is made to give the promise that he will send the chosen, the eldest, the most deserving of his sons, who was to be coronated the very next day. Dasharatha is made to promise that he will at once send him away to forest, not for few days but 14 years, and in his place, his younger brother would be coronated. And when this was conveyed to Rama, what was Rama's response? I was always curious. What would have been Rama's first reaction? Having totally expecting the coronation to happen, and he receives this communication from his father. Did it disturb Rama? Did he fight back? Did he lament? I looked up Valmiki Ramayanam only to see that Rama had uttered only one word: Astu, so be it. Such was his equanimity. Such was his commitment to ensure that his father's words do not become false. So too, Nachiketa pacifies his father. His father loves Nachiketa. Vajashravas loves Nachiketa dearly. He is not ready to let go of Nachiketa, but Nachiketa pacifies him and walks unto Yamaraja. A small deviation here, you would see the photo of Krishna and Arjuna. It so happens that once a devotee, given an opportunity in an interview room, he kneels down before Swami, much like probably what Arjuna is doing here in front of Krishna, and he prays, Karishye Vachanam Tava. All of us know the meaning. Whatever you say, Swami, I will do. That is what it means. And what was Swami's reply? Mundu Karishye Vachanam. Swami's reply was, first, you practice what you tell, then you will gain the eligibility to receive command from the Lord. Today, most of us give word. Forget about giving word to others. We give word to ourselves. For example, I'll come to this session in time, or I will not look at my mobile today before going to bed. We tell ourselves, but we are not able to follow our own words. Here is a case where Nachiketa is not just not following his own words, but is also trying to ensure that his father's words do not go wrong. I'm trying to create a distance between who we are and who Nachiketa is so that we appreciate him as our true ideal. And so, yes, Nachiketa goes searching for Yamaloka. Finally, he walks into the palace of death, doors of destiny, only to find that they were closed. He waits. He doesn't go back saying, I came, but you were not there, so I went back. No. He waits and he waits. He waits for 3 full days and nights, just standing there, waiting to be ushered in. Somehow, as Swami would say, Yamaraja had gone on a camp elsewhere. So then finally he returns to his palace to notice that a guest was kept waiting. He finds out from his attendants as to who has come, how long has he been waiting, and he is also a bit scared now. Atithi Devo Bhava. That is the guidelines of the Taittiriya Upanishad, Shikshavalli. And Yamaraja is Dharmaswarupa. If he does not do Atithi Satkaram, then he is in for trouble. So he comes up with his own plan. Of course, nobody can beat the intelligence of the Lord himself. And he says, you have waited for me for so long, and I was away, and you were not invited and treated well. So, in return, I would like to give you something. What do you want? Nachiketa is even more cleverer. He says, what do you intend to give? And so Yamaraja says, there has to be some justification, right? So Yamaraja says, since you have waited for 3 days, I am willing to consider to give you 3 boons, having waited one for each day. So I will give you 3 boons. You can ask of me whatever you want. The first thing again, what Nachiketa asks here is, right now, my father is experiencing lot of sadness because I have walked away from him and come here. He is going through the misery of losing his son. I want you to bless that over a period of time, my father should overcome this sorrow, should place his mind in divinity, and should find peace of mind. He first seeks the boon of welfare to his father. Father is having that guilt. In a moment of anger, slip of tongue, I uttered something which I should not have. He does not want his father to even bear the tiny guilt of sorrow. That is the first boon that Nachiketa asks, welfare of parents, especially in current times. Every time I see that a new old age home has been inaugurated or a new residential setup for senior livings is inaugurated, it only pains. Throughout his life, Swami would tell that if you take care of parents, then Swami will take care of you. And Swami put that into practice. Numerous stories Swami has told us of his own personal example of how he accorded the foremost position to his mother and father. So, what about the second? Nachiketa is an intelligent child. He is small, but we should never underestimate children, especially of the current generation. And so he says, I would like to know as to what is it that will take to find fulfillment of having got a human body. How is it that one can transcend the limitations of Manavatvam and achieve Divyatvam? In other words, what is the secret to having the life like it is lived in heaven, where there is no dukkham and only sukham? Yamaraja is mighty pleased. It is part of his portfolio of subjects. So he says, I have taught this for many semesters. It's easy. And so he imparts this Agni Upasana. He teaches him as to how to worship the Agni and achieve that status. Right after that, Nachiketa, having learnt everything from Yama, he repeats it back to Yamaraja. As a teacher, is very satisfied. My student is able to repeat whatever I say verbatim. Grace. I am going to give you a fourth extra boon, and that extra boon is that henceforth, this topic, imagine some textbook, henceforth be called as Nachiketa Yajna. So this Agni Sadhana, Agni Upasana will be called as after your name. So that came as a free gift from Yama to Nachiketa. Swami goes on to say that even like Swami would do out of love, materialize a chain, that Yama also gave a beautiful chain and put it around the neck of Nachiketa. When I was reading those lines from Swami's Upanishad Pravahini, I could just imagine the way Swami would do. Yama also did the same for Nachiketa. Now comes to the third. I'm not sure Yama had any clue of what it is going to be. Sometimes teachers surprise us in the question paper, but here the student is going to be surprising the teacher. And so Nachiketa says, some people say that apart from this body, there is an entity called Atma. Some people say it is not there. But you are aware because all have to pass through you when they die. So, can you tell me which of these views are true? Is Atma there or not there? Nachiketa is inquisitive. Now, this is the secret knowledge. So, Yama tries multiple attempts to dissuade Nachiketa and says, first he says, let's look at the strategies Yama uses. He says, this is a very difficult topic. Even the Devas, their fathers and their forefathers also have failed to understand, which means don't opt for this elective. All your seniors have not passed in this exam, so you cannot. So then Nachiketa instantly says that when you are the teacher, I have no doubt that I will be able to learn and understand this. Since it is the difficult subject and you are the best suited person to discuss this topic, so therefore I want to learn only this from you. Okay. Then Yama gives counter offer. You see, what will you gain by knowing whether Atma is there or not? What is more important is life filled with happiness. I will ensure that I will give you all the wealth. I'll make you a king. You will have scores of servants. You will have no dearth for any resources. Nachiketa was plainly listening. Yama was trying to dangle a carrot in front of him, but Nachiketa was extremely steadfast. As much as Yama tried to distract Nachiketa, Nachiketa was determined to get what he wanted. And he says, why are you trying to fool me with these perishable things? I have come to seek from you the imperishable, the eternal, and the permanent. So Yama fails in that effort too. And finally, Yama gives up and says, Nachiketa, it's your steadfastness of wanting only that for which you have come that I am now ready to impart to you the eternal knowledge about the Atma Tattva. Before that, he praises Nachiketa and says, this is an important thing, Shreyas and Preyas. So, Shreyas means something which gives difficulty to us now, but it is very useful for us later. Every day morning, it is very good to get up early and do yogasana. Anybody here who disagrees? No. But do all of us do? No. So, Shreyas is that which is extremely good for us, but but very difficult for us to do. On the other hand, prayers is that which is not really good for us in the long run, but instantly it will give us some satisfaction. Eating ice cream, yes, immediate smiles. Later, lot of doctor visits. Looking at mobile before sleeping, reels. Yes, interesting, but bad sleep. It will disturb our health. Shreyas and prayas. We know, but yet we fail to act upon what we know. But Yama said, Nachiketa, you chose the right thing, Shreyas over prayas. Now, this is an important teaching that we should take home from today's session. Whenever we are faced with any decision to make, is it good for me in the long run? Is the question that we have to ask. Does it come in the Shreyas category or does it come in the prayas category? And we should always choose Shreyas over prayas. And that is where we get to exercise our discrimination or Viveka Buddhi. The second aspect is, who has to exercise this Viveka Buddhi? Of course, straightforward answer, 1 mark. I have to exercise. Who in me? So here Yama gives a beautiful analogy of a chariot. He says, let's take a look at the chariot. Around 5 horses are there, and each of those 5 horses represent the 5 sense organs. And then there are these ropes that are tied to these horses, and there is a particular charioteer who is sitting. So these ropes that connect the charioteer to the horses is nothing but the mind. Then who is the charioteer? Charioteer is the buddhi, intellect. This entire ratham is the body. Then who is the rathi? Who is the passenger who is traveling in this chariot, in this ratham? Jivatma. If you leave it to the mind to decide between Shreyas and Prayas, the eye that sees ice cream will run after it. The ear that hears music will run after it. And each horse will run its own direction. And there will be no control, and we will lose our path. We will not reach our goal. But if we instead give the decision to make in the hands of the charioteer, which is the buddhi, which is the intellect, which is the reflection of the Atma, then we will go on a straight journey towards our destination. So the Viveka Buddhi has to be exercised from the point of view of our intellect. Sir, how to make out the difference whether my mind is telling or my intellect is telling? Each one of us know the answer. We just have to close our eyes and give it some time. Of course, anybody can fool us. We cannot fool our own selves, right? So Viveka is important. The other aspect Yama tells Nachiketa is, which is necessary to gain this Atma Vidya, is Vairagya. What is this Vairagya? Detachment. What is this detachment? Nobody has explained it as beautifully as Swami has said. Deep attachment to God is detachment from world. Deep attachment to Swami is detachment from world. That is nothing but Vairagya. Now, why is this Vairagya important? I will have only Viveka. I don't want another V. I'll do with one single V. No, if we do not take Vairagya, then we will be in a situation where we are trying to fill a bucket with water where the bucket has holes. If we are continually engaging ourselves and having expectations from our interactions in the world, it is akin to a bucket having holes. Whatever sadhana you might fill, get up every day morning at 4 o'clock, do japa, do dhyana. But if that sense control, if that vairagya, if that sense of detachment is not there, all the water will flow away. So, for us to ensure that our efforts yield results, the second V is also important. The first V is Viveka, to make the right decision, and the second V is Vairagya, to turn inward, to move away from all the external attractions and to move inward. In fact, in this Upanishad, a word is used called Dhiraha. And who is this Dhiraha? A brave one, a one with steadfastness, fortitude. See, by nature, it is designed that all our sense organs are seeking comfort, satisfaction, pleasure, and are outward. But Dhiraha is one who, being aware of their nature, has the ability to swim against the tide, swim against the tide of the flow of the senses, and force the sense and the mind and the buddhi to turn inward. The one who has Viveka and Vairagya is a true Dhira. And only when we have these two, Viveka and Vairagya, we will become eligible for Vidya. Which Vidya? Atma Vidya. Sa Vidya ya Vimuktaye. That which gives us eternal freedom. Both of these are required for us to ensure that the knowledge that is imparted to us gets imprinted in our hearts. All of us have heard countless discourses of Swami, of other holy people. Probably we have heard from all of them about the nature of the Atma. We have otherwise read or we have thought about, but yet we have not got that realization that Nachiketa got. Nachiketa heard it only once. The reason Nachiketa understood it at the first instance itself is because he was an eligible student. He had already with him both these Viveka and Vairagya. And therefore, he had to hear the message of the Lord only once. Even if we hear the divine message n number of times unto our last breath, but if we don't develop these two, Viveka and Vairagya, we will still be starting our journey all over again. In the Upanishad Vahini, on the chapter of Kathopanishad, Swami says that the 14th shloka in this Upanishad reveals to us the nature of this Atma. I was very curious to open the text and say, where is this 14th shloka and what does it read? I felt it's a blessing. Out of 120 shlokas, Swami has identified for us one shloka that encapsulates the very essence of what this Atma Tattva means. And this is what Nachiketa too heard from the mouth of Dharmaswarupa Yamaraja himself. ashabdam, asparsham, arupam, avyayam, arasam, nityam, agandhavaccha, anadi, anantam, mahatah param, dhruvam, nichayatam, mrutyumukat pramuchyate. It has been translated. Atma is that which is beyond the grasp of the five sense organs. It is eternal. It has neither a beginning nor an end. It is beyond even that which we consider as ultimate. It is permanent in its nature. And knowing one's own self to be thus, one is liberated. This is the quintessence of the message that Yamaraja gave to Nachiketa. Swami particularly referred to this particular shloka in the Kathopanishad mantras as when he wrote the chapter on Kathopanishad as part of Upanishad Pravahini. And it is a blessing for us all to at least see, listen, and hear this mantram. Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodhata. All of us have heard this line attributed to have been made famous by Swami Vivekananda. And these words are taken from this very Kathopanishad. Uttishta. It comes in our Suprabhatam, which we chant for Swami. Uttishtottishta. So wake up. Uttishta, wake up. Wake up from what? Wake up from the imagination. Wake up from the illusory world of avidya, of misconception, of dehabhimana. Jagrata. Then be ever aware and not let the illusory forces to again overpower us. To be ever aware of the sacred opportunity that all of us have got to be born in this land of Bharat, to be present in the very groves of Brindavan, to be present at the lotus feet of Jagadguru Sai Krishna. We have to be aware and not let go of this opportunity. Jagrata, we should be ever aware. Varan Prapya, having thus woken up and being aware, we should seek the holy company. Company of countless devotees who have served Swami's lotus feet for decades selflessly. Those who have had immense experience of having served Swami's lotus feet, of having seen Swami in close quarters. We have to seek their sannidhi and put effort to transform ourselves through sadhana. And nibodhata, we should learn. So we should wake up. We should be aware. We should seek the right company and we should learn. And only then the essence of Kathopanishad will see a fulfillment in our lives. And what is it that we should learn? The 5 lessons that we saw today. Service to parents. Parents are our first God, mother and father. We should ensure that their happiness, their comforts. Our birth does give them joy, but we should give them joy through the Satkirti, the good name that we earn from society. Keeping our word. Initially, I had accepted. In fact, it's a blessing to get this opportunity. But in between, circumstances came that I thought I would not be able to make it due to personal challenges. And then I asked myself, I have to do a presentation on Kathopanishad. And the second topic there is keeping your word. If I don't practice, then what right do I have to stand and talk about Kathopanishad? So I prayed to Swami, you give me the strength. I have given word to the organizers. It should happen that with your blessings, I should be able to go and make a presentation. And it is Bhagawan's grace. The third is, of course, steadfastness. Having come thus far into the garden of Brindavan, now we should be clear that if there is anything to be sought, it is only Swami's divine lotus feet. But temptations will not leave us. With the rose, there are also thorns. So we should constantly remind ourselves and choose always Shreyas over Prayas. Having done all this, if that last minute, weak moment before we go to bed, mobile phone is there, then all our efforts will go in vain. So remind ourselves for sense control. So finally, the equation is V plus V is equal to V. Viveka plus Vairagya will lead to Vidya. And what is that Vidya? The Vidya which Swami has come to give all of us, that I and you are one. Sai Ram. We now have time for some question and answers. I will not be able to take the role of Yamaraja, but with whatever little understanding, yes, I'm sure I left many places incomplete so that there is opportunity to ask questions also. So if there are any questions, you can come forward. I think a mic will be extended to you and you can ask questions. Thank you. Yes. Very nice question. How to develop Vairagya? Of course, it is not possible that at the very first instance that we detach ourselves completely, and that is where Swami. So, let me repeat the question for the benefit of the audience. How to develop Vairagya is the question. My answer goes as follows. It is not possible for us in our everyday life. We are, of course, humans and we are prone to error. But how do we develop this Vairagya? And the path that Swami has given us, therefore, is at once we cannot give up everything and leave everything. So, the path that Swami gives us is to first put a ceiling, right? Instead of having endless desires, first we will at least reduce those number of desires and put a ceiling. And that is where Swami comes with the concept of ceiling on desires. That is the first step. The second is, whatever interests we have, we direct those interests towards God. For example, I cannot control it cannot be that I do not see the world, I do not listen to the world. I have to engage in this world, but I change the attitude with which I engage with the world. Instead of seeking benefits directly, I say I would do this with a spirit of offering to Swami. Bhagavat Prityartham. So when we change the attitude that I do each act with the idea that this is an offering to Swami, I limit my number of desires over a period of time. To give a simple practical example, okay, monthly probably I watch 3 movies. I'll reduce it to 2. Next month I'll reduce it to 1. If I am consuming foods that are not good for me, which is in the prayers category, I will slowly reduce it. So ceiling on desires, slowly and steadily we have to turn the mind inward. So ceiling on desires and directing all our actions as offering to Swami. These two, in my opinion, will help us eventually to reach that stage of Vairagya.
Brother, can you explain the Mahavakya of Kathopanishad? Anoraniya.
Swami says that number of lines from Kathopanishad have found its place in Bhagavad Gita also. Na jayate mriyate va, that shloka in Bhagavad Gita is actually sourced from Kathopanishad. Of course, Bhagavad Gita is but an essence of all the Vedanta, all the Vedas and Vedanta. Similarly, Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. Swami has also mentioned this line in numerous discourses. This Atma Tattvam is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. Very difficult for me to comprehend. Either something is small or something is big. How can a same thing be both small and big? And Swami says that is the Sukshmatvam. Therefore, Atma Vidya is not for everybody. We have to fine tune our capabilities to grasp it. Then Swami gives a very beautiful example. Swami says, have you seen a large banyan tree? But it but gives a very small seed. And within that seed, if you break open, it is just emptiness. But from that seed, another large banyan tree comes. And from that large banyan tree, a small seed comes. And from that small seed, the large banyan tree comes. Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. This is the beautiful way which Swami says. Swami says you cannot say the Atma is like this and not like that, or like that and not like this. It is this, it is that, it is neither, and it is everything too.
Sairam,
Yes.
how can we say that this is said by mind or this is said by intellect?
I am also a student on this path of sadhana. The question is, how do I recognize whether this voice that is being heard by me inside my mind, is it the voice of the mind or is it the voice of the heart or buddhi? Again, we have to take recourse to what Swami has told us. One way, like how my teachers had trained me when I was a student in Swami's institution, is to ask ourselves this question: would Swami approve this? Will this bring happiness to Swami? Will this take me closer to Swami? If yes, then it is the voice of the heart. If no, then it is the voice of the mind. So, the test that we have to put to any situation, hundred of arguments will be placed before us saying, no, no, this is the right thing to do. Our own mind will trick us into belief, because the mind sometimes wears the costume of the buddhi and come inside us. Very, very difficult to tackle the mind. But we have to take recourse to the Paramatma residing in our own heart and ask him to guide us. Will this take me closer to Swami? Will I be satisfied having accepted this decision? Can I sleep peacefully without any heaviness in my heart? Then it is the voice of the buddhi. The more Swami mentions, the more you listen to the voice of the buddhi, the louder it grows over a period of time. The more you ignore the voice of the buddhi, the louder the voice of the mind becomes. So if we ignore the voice of the buddhi, after some time we will not even be able to listen to it. But if we constantly put effort, its volume will become higher and we will have lesser and lesser confusion whether it is the voice of the mind or voice of the buddhi. Okay, probably I don't know how much time is left. Ah, any other question? I got a question. The Upanishad says Nachiketa went to Yamaloka. Any question regarding this? Where did he go? How did he go? Where is this Yamaloka? And then he stood there for 3 nights and 3 days. And he met Yamaraja. So this question obviously came into my mind. If Nachiketa knew that every night is equal to one boon, he would have waited for 10 days also. He would have got 10 boons. Only Swami has made this clear to all of us. Swami says that yes, right, there is a story element to this, but there is a inner meaning. This Lord of Death, Dharmaraja, is called as Yamaraja. Yama. The word Yama, Swami says, is the very first step in the Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyanam, Samadhi. So Yama is the first step. And Swami says that this Yama symbolizes sense control, self-control. Bahyendriya and Antarindriya. Both outward senses and inner senses. Inner senses is nothing but the mind. So when Nachiketa went to Yamaloka, means he exercised austerity and controlled all his senses, withdrew his mind from external objects and focused it on the self within. And he maintained that position for 3 days and 3 nights. Next, I had the same question, 3 days and 3 nights. Why? Why not 4? Why not 2? Swami again answers that if you want to get connected to yourself within and get knowledge of that Agni Upasana, of the knowledge of the Atma Tattva, then you have to cross 3 levels. All of us, we play games, we have levels. So here also in this journey, we have 3 levels. Level 1, Tamoguna. Level 2, Rajoguna. Level 3, Satvaguna. So the 3 nights and 3 days that Nachiketa waited apparently to have a conversation with the Yamaraja, who is nothing but the Lord of sense self-control. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that amongst the Indriyas, I am Manaha. Which Manaha? That which has self-control, which is established in Buddhi, which is nothing but Krishna Swarupa only within oneself. So after having gone through the Tamoguna, which symbolizes dullness, Rajoguna, which symbolizes activity and energy, and Sattvaguna, which symbolizes piety, one is then in close proximity to one's true self. And so this journey to Yamaloka is but a journey inward, and those 3 nights and 3 days is but overcoming the Manavatva gunas and establishing oneself internally. Sometimes if the question doesn't come, teacher only has to ask the question and answer. Otherwise, syllabus will not get completed. Now you have to help me. One more question. Yes, please. Yeah, you can ask. I'll repeat your question for the audience. Yeah, you can use the mic.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, so for the benefit of like the students who are there in the audience, could you tell us as students how can we be practicing Viveka and Vairagya in our daily lives?
As students,
Yeah.
favorite topic.
Thank you.
Let's say we have an examination. So there we have to very clearly use our discrimination. That will I prioritize the use of my time to accomplish my goals towards understanding the subject, mastering the topic, or will I use my time towards giving myself little bit of self entertainment, chatting with friends, going out for movies, catching up in some cafe for ice cream. So that Viveka we have to use because the student life is limited period. We cannot say now I will enjoy, later again I'll become a student. Unfortunately, student period is the first 20-25 years. So there we have to definitely apply our Viveka to choose the right thing. Second is our parents have done a lot of sacrifice to get us to where we are in our life. Sometimes our choices may seem very rational to our so-called current generation mind, and children easily dismiss saying that there is generation gap between me and my parents. There is no generation gap. We have to use little bit of Viveka only. Parents always tell things which is for our welfare and our goodness. Their perspectives might differ a bit. So we have to also therefore use this attitude of gratitude and ask ourselves, am I making this decision only keeping myself in mind, or am I cognizant of all the sacrifices, the hard work done by my parents? So that is one sense of discrimination or Viveka which you mentioned. Now coming to Vairagya, we have to have attachment to something, that is certain. If we do not have attachment to something, then our mind will find its own recourses to have attachment to what it likes. So before the mind chooses, we should choose for the mind. So we have to be one step ahead of the mind. So if in student life we have to be very clear. In student life you will not say I will detach and go away to the forest. No, you have to go to college. Otherwise we will not get our attendance. If you go to forest, we will not be getting our hall ticket for writing exams. So we should have the right attachment. So I would rephrase Vairagya in our student life to have the right attachment. From the right attachment, we can have attachment to right things in life. And slowly that will lead us to detachment. So we should take it step by step. Yes. Okay, 5 more minutes. I thank the organizers, Bhagawan, and all the elders seated here to give an opportunity to a youngster to give answers to question. I know all the elders would have guided us much better, but it is their humility and it is their encouragement to us to take this stance and to respond to these questions. I'm sure the learned scholars of this assembly, there are many who are present in this very hall, at the lotus feet of Bhagavan or elsewhere. They are living embodiments of knowledge. They could have done a much better job. But this is mother's grace. In the presence of mother, every child is equal. And in that spirit, I have been given this opportunity. I thank the organizers, Bhagavan, and all of you for this wonderful opportunity. Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Sisters and brothers, I think Brother Manoj deserves another round of applause for such a wonderful session. Thank you so much, brother. Actually, when I saw the schedule of the Upanishads, of the Upanishad Pravahini, I was eagerly looking forward to Kathopanishad because, like Brother Manoj said in the introduction, it is the most Kathinam Upanishad of all the Upanishads. And I think after this presentation, everybody here will agree, it actually turned out to the most Sulabham in the way, understanding the truths behind the Upanishad. Thank you so much for filtering it out, distilling it in those 5 key points. And 5 of them, they were not theoretical, that we can practice in our daily lives. Thank you so much, brother, for making that effort. Um, I'm sure the slides will be available. If you want to know what those 5 points are, we can always reach out to our Sundar sir. With that said, I'd like to extend heartfelt thanks to all the sections of the Sathya Sai Seva organizations that have made this evening possible, and our eternal and heartfelt gratitude to Swami for having us all here this evening, chanting his name, singing his glory, and listening to these deep insights from the Upanishad. Like Swami says, if not for his will, even a blade of grass shall not move. So the fact that we are here listening to Swami is all his grace. Thank you, Swami.